Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is episode number 260 of the Immigration Answer Show. I am here for the next hour to answer all of your immigration law related questions, to answer every single question that I can. Sometimes I don't know the answer. Sometimes people tell me things that don't make sense. Sometimes I have to go and look things up. I've got my trusty notepad. If you ever go see a lawyer and they don't have a notepad, you know they're up to no good. I am excited to be here. My friend Skyla is here. She's watching the boards. She's watching the comments. She left the link. If you want to come and join us, go ahead and click on the link to get in the waiting room. When you're in the waiting room, make sure your camera is on so they know that there's a live person there. If there's no camera on, I most likely will not call on you. Not much going on today. So at our firm, everyone works from home on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I come into the office because I like to be here when it's quiet. I like to be here on the show. We're going to do the show all week this week and probably all next week. We are launching our new firm website on Thursday. So we want to make sure that everybody has the chance to get a hold of us, that those who need to get a hold of us know where to find us. So we're going to be going live every day this week and next week. If you haven't already, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know where you are in the immigration process, maybe what your concern is. We don't usually get to the questions in the comments just because the waiting room is usually full and it is already filling up. So let's go ahead and get started with Bram. Hi, Bram.
Hey, Jim. Hey, thanks for having me again.
Sure.
Hey, I have one small question and maybe also a suggestion. So my small question is I am now here in the US on an E2 visa for work, but I'm also engaged to a US citizen. And I would like to maybe apply for an adjustment of status, but I also need to go to my home country for business. So my main question actually is, when I re-enter, should I wait 90 days to not have not seem like fraudulent, or do you think it doesn't really matter? Or
I don't think
stupid. Yeah.
I don't think 90 days is enough. I think it's got to be 6 months. I have a video on this. If you enter on a visit visa, leave, and then try to come right back, and I would say come right back is anything less than 6 months. I mean, there's no hard and fast rule. There's no rule that says 6 months and 1 day is okay, 5 months and 28 days. It's all which officer you get, what kind of mood they're in, what other entries you've had, whether they know about your fiance. So for all those reasons, I don't think you can predict what's going to happen when you come back 3 months or 6 months from now.
Okay. Well, do you mean 6 months from my first entry on my visa, or is it also for like
6 months from like if you left tomorrow, 6 months from tomorrow?
Sorry, I'm just trying to follow. So say I leave now, I come back a month from now?
No. What I'm saying is, if you leave today, you don't try to re-enter the United States for 6 months.
No, sorry. Yeah, the situation I'm in is I have the E2 and I can do multiple entries.
Oh, I think you said B2. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, sorry.
I'm sorry.
E. Yeah.
Okay.
I have an E2. Yeah, sorry. That's what changes the thing, I think. Changes the situation.
Right. Okay. So ask me the question again now that I understand what kind of visa you have.
So I have an E2 indeed. I entered on July 1st, but I need to go back to my home country for a month.
Okay.
And then I come back, say December 1st.
Okay.
And my immigration lawyer says that it's not a problem to then get married instantly when I get back. But I'm worried that because of the 90-day rule of immigrant, non-immigrant intent and those kind of things. Yeah, that's my worry.
Well, an E2 visa is a non-immigrant visa, so I think that rule applies. It's not 90 days in my book; it's 60 days. So, if you come back in December, I believe you can't get married for 60 days without triggering the clear and convincing standard for proving that you didn't have immigrant intent when you entered. Yeah. So, let's say you enter on December 1st, you get married on February 3rd. Yeah. And then you apply, it's going to be 6 months before you get advanced parole. So at some point, if you want to do this in the United States, Bram, you're going to have to stay in the United States for up to 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's all I want to know. And then
Awesome. And
maybe a small
how about your
suggestion.
suggestion? Yeah.
Yeah. So just small thing. I know some YouTubers when they stream, they also open up donations. I would be quite happy to maybe do a small donation or something like that after asking a question. That could go to like a pro bono
Yeah.
jar or whatever.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I'm open to that. Let me think about that. Talk to our marketing team. But it's funny that you say that because one of my favorite immigrant groups in St. Louis is having their trivia night on Saturday, and we're going. So maybe I could talk to my team and then talk to them about that. But yeah, that'd be fun. I'd be up for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much
Thanks,
for all
man.
the work you do. You're
You
helping a
got
lot
it,
of people.
buddy. Take care.
Oh yeah. See you.
See ya. All right, let's say hi to Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, my name is Kevin. Um, we came to United States in 2002. That is me, my wife, and my two children. And at that time, I came on my business visa, and my family was on tourist visa. Like I had a B1 and they had a B2. And after that, we tried to change it to the L1 visa, which was under process for like few years, like till we applied for L1 in 2002 August, and then after certain processing, it was denied in 2006 or 7, I guess. So since that time, we are like undocumented, and my children are grown up, so they are on the deferred action. My daughter, she is 26, and my son, he is 23, and they are both in the deferred action plan program, and they both go to school, and vice versa. So my question was, is there any other option for us to legalize ourselves?
So there's nobody else, like you didn't have another kid when you arrived in the United States, no US citizens?
No.
Yeah. So the question is there anything you can do to raise your hand and say that you're here? Now, in theory, if you got put into deportation, you might be able to make a claim for cancellation of removal. Do you have any American relatives? You have no American relatives?
No, no, not
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's nothing you can do right now, Kevin, except hope that there's some kind of immigration reform. But you're like the exact kind of person that we talk about when we talk about the need for immigration reform, because there's no line for you to get into, no path for you to you know,
Uh-huh.
get a green card. So for right now, you're just waiting to see if Congress ever gets its act together and passes meaningful, comprehensive immigration reform.
Okay, so let's say if you are, if the when I last month I talked to one of the attorney, she was telling me something about that. We can do something like if you have any sponsor, like a business sponsor, employer, then we can just file for H1 or HB, and then we can
You're out of
legalize.
status. You're out of status.
Yeah,
You
we are
can't
out of status. Yeah,
you can't change to an H-1B from being out of status for 15 years.
and we can't even file for asylum at the moment.
Well, you're supposed to file for asylum within 1 year of arrival.
Yeah, but our country is also still going with a turmoil. Like all those activities going on in our country. Uh,
Is it
so,
something is it something new that developed within the last 12 months?
um, no, not really.
Yeah, so no. That's not a viable asylum claim, most likely.
Okay, so
I think you're just waiting.
wait. Okay. Is there any chances for the government? Are they doing anything?
No, they're terrible. All they do is fight. I don't see anything happening anytime soon, especially if the Republicans win in November.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mr. Biden, when he became president, we had a good hope. Actually, what happened was since the time of President Obama, because what happened was we were denied in 2006, and then we had a hope, like when
Well,
President
but how
Obama.
could how could you have ever gotten an L1? Did you work for a company overseas? Did you have a subsidiary?
Yeah, yeah. I had a business in my country, and then I opened, I bought a business here. Based
While
on that, I applied for L1.
you
And
bought a
then
business here while you were on your B1, B2?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that probably was never going to work.
Okay.
But in
Good.
any event. All right, good luck, Kevin.
All right. Thank you, sir. That's all
Thanks,
I need
buddy.
to know.
Yep, see ya. All right, let's say hi to Paul. Hi, Paul.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
How
How
you
are you
doing,
doing?
Jim? I love the show.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. What can I help you with?
Good, thank you. I've been benching on the show. Yeah, I'm trying to fill out my N400 application, so they're asking me, they want to know all my arrests I ever had. So I'm going to like different police departments to find my arrest record. And today, I just went today, and they say I was, I guess they detained me. It was like back maybe 6 years ago. They said they detained me for like I guess um selling marijuana, cannabis, or something like that. But
Okay.
I was never charged with anything, and I never remember. You know, I didn't go to court for that or nothing like that. I guess they just arrested me, and the police wrote on the report. That was I guess then, but nothing came out of that, And just today, I'm trying to get, because they ask you if you ever been arrested or detained. So I'm going
Mhm.
through every department to get my police report or my arrest report, and she said that's what came up, but nothing came out of that charge or that detainment. So I don't know, is that gonna, am I gonna get in trouble for that?
No, that's the only thing you have on your record? Is that the only thing you have on your record?
I have like my state we decriminalized, so it's not a charge. So I got like maybe I think I got two I got one possession that I end up now. I think I didn't show up for court, so they just found me guilty because I didn't show up. It was decriminalized, and the other one I showed up. They put it was under 10 grand, so they gave me like none and void. So pretty much they didn't charge me. They just dismissed the charge. And I have a DUI back in I think over 10 years ago. That was, I did the probation and everything. And I have a theft charge for like theft over 500. That was like back in '06. That was, they didn't charge me for that. They, what they call that, they dismissed the charge. So that's pretty much it. Besides traffic ticket, like citation, but nothing serious. Nothing, no crime, just driving offense.
So here's what I'll say, Paul. No lawyer worth his salt would tell you over a phone call without looking at every record and getting a full history as to whether or not it's safe for you to file for citizenship. So I think it's great that you're going out to look at these records, but I think you need to really think about whether or not it makes sense to raise your hand and whether or not any of your stuff gets you in trouble. So I don't think I can give you an answer about that right now, because I think that somebody needs to look at your whole history of interaction with law enforcement, your arrest, your detentions, all those things.
Yeah, I have a lawyer. She said she looked over. She said she's gonna file, but the only thing is that the one I just learned today about the detainment for the selling marijuana. That's a new one that I just heard about it for the first time today. That I was never charged for it, like the detained for selling marijuana, but I was never
Well,
charged for it, or no paper came out of it. I guess it's just
okay.
detained me and they released me. That's the
Okay.
only one that's new.
So again, I can't say whether or not it's safe for you to apply for citizenship without seeing everything. What I can say is that an uncharged crime that happened outside the 5-year or the 3-year look back is generally not something they're supposed to look at when it comes to citizenship. But it sounds like you have multiple interactions with law enforcement, and I think they could say that over time you haven't really followed the law, so why should we let you be a citizen? So I encourage you to ask the lawyer to say in writing, not on the phone, say you want it in writing that it's safe for you to apply for citizenship. Don't just take her word for it, because lawyers like to get paid. Lawyers like to file applications, Lawyers don't get paid if they don't file applications. So you need to make sure that she's looking out for you. And the only way to do that is to get it in writing that it's safe for you to apply for citizenship.
Okay, one more thing. So is the detain and no charge, can that count for something? If
Yeah.
if
Yes,
they
it
just
can.
detain me?
Yes. Yeah. If you have a history of drug-related charges, if you have a history of drug-related charges, and then you have another one of selling marijuana, that's then nothing happens, they might say to themselves, this guy's a drug dealer. Why are we going to let him be a citizen? I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that, yes, they can consider things that don't result in an arrest as whether or not you're a person of good moral character. Paul, I'm going to let you go. I hope that helps. And let's go say hi to Nancy. Hi, Nancy.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for meeting with me. I had a
Sure.
quick question. So, I came to the US on an F1 status. I'm currently on a STEM OPT. The March of this year, an H-1B was filed by my employer, and the petition was approved by the USCIS.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I was laid off during this recession period before October 1st. So my lawyer suggested that we withdraw the petition from USCIS so that I can maintain the STEM OPT status. And the employer sent a letter out withdrawing the petition to the USCIS. That was August 24th.
Okay.
But now I see on my SEVIS portal, my SEVP portal, that my EAD card has been updated as an end date of October 1st. So I no longer have an updated I-20. Like I don't have a valid I-20. So I really don't know what the situation is at that point because I already withdrew the H-1 application, but still the records say otherwise.
What does your school say?
They just said that I no longer have a valid I-20 with them, and there's nothing they can do about it, even though the H-1 was withdrawn and the letter was sent out because it's supposed to be revoked the moment the USCIS received the letter from my employer, and that was about 2 months ago.
Is this your first year of STEM?
Yeah, it is from STEM OPT.
Right.
Yeah.
So you would lose like a year and a half if
Yeah, my STEM OPT is valid till July next year.
And you talked to the actual DSO at your school?
Yeah,
And
I did.
they said what? There's nothing they can do?
They said that the SEVIS record is updated, like the SCVP is updated, and technically I don't have a valid I-20 with them. They just told me to speak to the lawyer, who is again telling me to talk to the DSO again.
Yeah, this is a DSO problem. This is not a lawyer problem. This is they need to reinstate you. And
But they said they cannot do that on their end.
I think they're full of shit.
I mean, that puts me in a very bad situation because I lost a job. I was unemployed. I was still on my unemployment days. I had like 114 of them left. I've used about 80 of them now. And now at October 1st, I don't know what status I am on.
Well, what is your plan as far as assuming that your SEVIS record got updated and you had OPT tomorrow?
I have gotten a job offer and I'm just waiting for the letter that I was supposed to start on, hopefully on the 24th of this month.
I think that pressure needs to be applied to the school to do everything they can to reinstate you. It sounds like they're just going like this. Sorry about that. Nothing we can do. Sorry. I think you should meet with them with a lawyer and maybe threaten to sue them if they don't do the right thing.
But according to what I just told you, do you think there's anything wrong on my end, on the employer or the employer's end? Because we followed I follow whatever the lawyer said to the T, like withdrawing the H-1 and everything. So I don't think there's anything in my hand anymore. Am I right about that?
I do believe you're right about that. Yep. I think this is all in the school.
Okay.
I know you probably don't want to say the name of the school on the show, which is fine. But my question is this a smaller school that's not real experienced with OPT and STEM?
No, it's not.
So then you need a lawyer and you need to go punch him in the mouth.
Okay. That actually gives me a bit more clarity. Okay,
Yeah.
but it is possible once the USCIS has updated and revoked the SEVIS, they can reinstate it, right? If it's there.
I don't know why they couldn't.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, you're in a gray area. It's sort of a tricky situation, but you're also probably not the first person that's happened to.
I agree. I saw a couple of posts online, and especially this year regarding the recession, a lot of this has happened to a lot of people now.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Good luck, Nancy.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.
You too.
All right. Let's say hey to Rafaela.
Hi, thank you.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great.
So my question is about like advanced parole. I got mine this week. They approved it. My case is like marriage, but I'm thinking to visit my country, but my husband won't be able to go because of his job. So I'm thinking if this is gonna be a problem at the interview day. Should I tell them something? They're gonna know that I use it without him, or
How long are you talking about going for?
I'm sorry.
How long will your trip be? How many days will your trip be?
I'm thinking about like 1 month, 30 days, 20 days.
And before you filed for marriage based green card, what was your status before you filed?
No, I lost my visa.
Okay, so when did you enter the United States?
I entered in 2017.
And on what kind of a visa?
I applied for marriage right now.
No. When
No,
you
I
came,
have a tourist visa.
okay. And then did you overstay?
Yes, I overstay. I applied for 6 months more, so I stayed like 1 year legal, and then I lost. And
Yeah,
then
but when you say lost, you didn't lose your passport. You just mean it expired.
yeah, it's expired. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So then the question is, so now you have a pending green card application based on marriage. You've been approved for advanced parole, and you're worried about whether or not leaving the United States without your spouse is gonna make them suspicious at your interview.
Yeah, at the interview, they know that I use my advanced parole. Of
Yeah,
course.
but it's okay. There's no rule that says if you get advanced parole, you have to travel with your spouse. And it sounds like you haven't been home for 5 years, right?
Yeah, 5 years without seeing my
So
parents.
in answer to your question, yeah, just be honest about it at the interview. It's not a big deal that you went home and your spouse didn't. They might ask you a little bit about it, but if you have a good explanation, he couldn't get off work, and maybe even a letter from his boss, I think that covers that. The bigger question is whether or not you should leave with advanced parole when you were out of status at the time that you applied, right? Do you understand? To me, you're not asking the right question. The right question is, should someone who came on a B1, B2 and overstayed by 3 or 4 years and then married a U.S. citizen, should they leave on advanced parole, or should they wait until they get their green
Until
card?
the green card approval.
I believe you should wait until you get your green card.
Okay.
If you can, unless it's an emergency. Unless it's an emergency, I would wait until you get your green card.
Do you think because I received right now my advanced parole, probably my interview is gonna take so long? Is there a rule or no?
I don't think they're connected.
They're not connected, so it can be normal.
Where will your interview be? What field office?
The field office, I think, is Vermont, if I'm not sure.
Where do you live now? Where do you live now?
I live in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, so your interview will be in New Jersey. So those cases are probably 18. How long ago did you apply?
It's gonna be 1 year in November.
Yeah, so you're probably still 6, 7, 8 months away from your interview. So, if that factors into whether or not you leave or not, my vote is don't leave until you get your green card.
Wait. Okay. Thank you very much. That was my concern. Just
Awesome.
one more question. In case I need to visit my parents, they're gonna know that I use my advanced parole, right?
Yeah, and you have to. Yeah, and not only will they know, but you have to tell them. They'll ask you at your interview.
They ask.
Have you taken any trips since you filed this application?
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye, Rafaela. Good luck. All right, let's say hi to Salem. Hi, Salem.
Hey, Jim. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the efforts that you're doing in this show. Yeah, it's something really nice of you to do.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So basically, Jim, I'm an F1 student here in the States. I came in 2021 July 2021, and I basically was engaged, and but I still wasn't married. So I got married on proxy because due to COVID and stuff, I couldn't go back home. And then my wife applied, and she got refused in the first interview. that was in the Jerusalem embassy.
She applied for an F2.
Yeah, for an F2.
Got it.
Okay, so at that point there was still 1 year left in my I-20.
Yeah.
When she got refused for the first time.
And what was the basis of the refusal, Salem? Sorry to interrupt.
Well, they just say the normal 214G reason, I think, something
Okay.
like that.
So they didn't think she had non-immigrant intent. They thought she was coming to stay.
That's the reason that they gave her, was the 214G.
Mhm.
I
Got
think
it.
that's the number. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if that's the
But
correct.
they basically thought she didn't have enough ties to come back to Israel.
Well, it's Gaza Strip, not
Oh,
Israel.
okay.
But I think that's so. They don't give an explanation. They just give that paper, and then that's it. So basically what happened in that interview was that she asked her a lot of questions, and then when she came to the part where like, when did you get married and all that stuff, she asked her questions about that. And then she asked her, like, did I come back to get married to her in person? Was I in the country when we got married physically or not? And then when she said no, the officer went back and asked got off the desk and went to talk to some people, and then came back and said, hey, you're refused. So what happened is that so when I read and did my research, I know that the US doesn't how, I don't know what the word is, they don't consider a proxy marriage to be a legit marriage, and then to consider it as a legit marriage, you have to consummate it. So what happened is we were already planning to have a wedding. So I went back home and we had a wedding, and she took pictures and everything.
So
And then,
just to be clear, after you married her on the proxy marriage, you and she had never been in the same city face to face.
no,
before-
we have
before that interview.
Yeah, before the interview,
Okay.
we have, but she didn't take any pictures with her or anything to prove
Okay.
it. Yeah. So so the thing is that we went and had the marriage itself, the wedding party, and then she took a lot of pictures with everyone and like proof that the marriage is consummated. And then she went on a second interview, and that was in like a month ago, I think, something like that. And then when she went, that was in Tel Aviv. It was in a different embassy because there weren't any appointments in the Jerusalem embassy. So we had to take another appointment in a different embassy. So when she went over there, the officer asked her for my visa, like a picture for my visa, and she gave it to him. And he asked her one question only: did you guys get married after I traveled to the States? And she said, we were engaged before that, but we had the marriage a couple of months ago during the summertime.
Talking about the big face-to-face marriage.
Yeah, the big party. And she told him, like, here's the pictures if you want to see it. And he was like, no, I don't want to see it. And he gave her another refusal. So the question is, right now she's waiting for her third interview, which is in about 4 days from now, or 6 days to be exact and precise. And that's in Egypt, in the third embassy. So I don't know. What do you think we should do? We don't like the idea that we're far away from each other. And
what was the basis of the second refusal?
Well, he didn't give any, like, the same reason of 214G.
Okay.
Just
And
the
then,
usual paper that they give out.
And why'd you pick Cairo?
Well, that's basically where I'm from. So I'm from there. That's my home country. And then
Egypt. So you're Egyptian.
Yeah.
So why didn't? But
she's an Egyptian also, but she lives in Gaza. She has the Egyptian passport also. She has 2 different passports.
Okay, so.
But there's another thing, which is my I-20 has about 5 months left on it. It ends in May. So, but then I have like the OPT in it, which will be after that. So I don't know. It's kind of complicated, but.
Well, I mean.
Well, is the problem because it was a proxy marriage?
Well, I think sometimes, Salem, cases get off on the wrong foot, and then it just sort of snowballs from there, right? It's almost like, well, first they find this thing, then they find that thing, then they find this thing. So I don't know that I would have my hopes up too well for Cairo. I mean, the third time might be the charm, but usually it isn't. especially when they've been so rapid fire applying.
Yeah.
I think that I would document the heck out of the fact that you're going to get OPT. Are you a STEM major or not a
Yeah,
STEM?
STEM major. So I should
Sure.
give them like details about that.
Yep.
All right.
So, I mean, that means even though your I-20 is about to expire in 5 months, really, you're going to get 3 years after that. So there's a real reason for it. I think that how does she come across as a witness? Like, how is she going to be able to advocate for herself?
Well, yeah, sort of a point. She will be, but the point is that in the second interview, he didn't even give her a chance to talk to her. He just gave her the refusal and get out of here. It was like that.
Huh.
He didn't even ask her any questions. Like, it was just one question and then like refused. So
where do you live right now?
right now in Illinois.
I mean, so you're going to school in Illinois?
Yeah.
So I'm not a big believer in reaching out to members of Congress, but this might be one where you can get them to help you. What you need a little nudge going into the embassy, like right before it, to try to advocate for them. Because right now, if I'm first of all, F2s are pretty low on the list of priorities at these embassies. They're all hugely backlogged when it comes to marriage-based cases, employment-based cases, and F2s are even after F1s, right? Because F1s come and they are contributing money to the country. F2s, they don't view them. The F2s are like one step above B1, B2. So I think that a really important piece of this is going to be she has to advocate for herself, and she needs to explain why this has happened. Like, I might even, if I were you, Salem, I might do a chronology of everything that happened, and I would have her practice it, and I would include a whole lot of we're sorry. Like, I don't think you guys did anything really wrong, but from their point of view, you pissed them off at Jerusalem first, and then with the proxy marriage, and then I don't really know the second time, but you need to sort of come at it from a perspective of, like, we can see why you guys treated us this way. We hope you don't keep treating us this way. We really just want to be together, and Salem's got this good life lined up, and I just want to go stay with him while we
Get our life sorted out.
Get our life work going. Yeah.
Yeah. So like was like the proxy marriage the main reason of the first refusal, or what? Because
so my wife is from Egypt. She came here when she was 7. I became Muslim a long time ago, and most of our clients are from the Middle East or from Muslim countries.
Yeah.
And there's just a bias against letting Muslims come into the country, and that's nowhere, or people from Gaza or Egypt. That's nowhere. The embassy in Israel is probably the most aware of that. And
well, Jim, let me tell you something nice.
Yeah.
Or not nice. It's not that nice. So her second interview was basically after, like, it was directly after the war that happened between Gaza and Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
So it was directly after that.
Yeah.
Like, literally a week after that. So
yeah,
I'm advocating to, like, saying that officer maybe was biased. All right.
Yeah.
And then she has different passports, so why not just try to apply with that other passport in the Egyptian embassy?
Yeah.
And that, so I don't know, because we're thinking right now about, like, okay, so if her F2 visa gets refused, and maybe they're refusing that because of the proxy thing, so why don't we apply for a B2 for her, and then that has a higher chance of getting refused based on the history.
Yeah.
And then when she comes here, maybe we can apply for a change of status or get remarried here again or something, and then go together to any other place and get an F2 again. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if the marriage now is the problem. I just think not. I mean, I think also that first of all, I'm surprised she's been able to get these F2 interviews so quickly. When was the first interview?
The first one was I think in it was a couple of months, maybe. 1 second, let me check it real quick. I think in April.
April of 2022.
Yeah.
And then the next
And
one.
then the second one was in June, I think.
And now this one is
Yeah,
next week, so October.
next week. Yeah. So that's the second reason of why we were applying to different embassies, which is because
Yeah.
the appointments, because you know how hard it is to get an appointment.
Yeah.
It's really hard. So basically the embassies in Jerusalem, there's appointments for F2s like next day if you want something tomorrow, you'll find one. I don't know why, but embassies there in Jerusalem, they treat people much more better than Middle Eastern countries. In Egypt, it's about at least 2-3 months waiting time, and that's actually after they've made it better. When I was applying it, the waiting period was about a year at least, and then they would cancel your appointment.
Yeah.
Then
So I mean, to me, like obviously you can't bring a lawyer into the interview, but I mean, it almost would take a lawyer. Like she needs to be really ready. I would walk in there. I know this is very unusual, but I would walk in there and say, I need your help. I need your help. My husband and I were validly married. We've been trying to get this visit visa. They turned us down in Jerusalem because it was a proxy marriage. They didn't like that, even though we had been together after the proxy marriage, and therefore it was valid for purposes of immigration. I didn't even get a chance in Tel Aviv. It was right after this scuffle between Gaza and Israel.
Yeah.
And you're like my last hope. If I don't get this visa, we're not gonna be able to start our life together. And I need your help. I understand why there's been sort of this delay. I feel like we've explained a lot, that it's a valid marriage, that I just want to go be with my husband and start our life together. He's finishing up his schooling. He's got a STEM field. He's going to be able to stay there for 3 years. And if I don't get this visa, it's really going to produce a hardship on the two of us. And then I would also have your member of Congress sort of saying those exact same things.
Well, I don't know how to get to that member of Congress. I've never been.
That's okay. So are you in Chicago?
Yeah, near Chicago, in a suburb, like the outer suburbs, about 3.5 hours from there.
So I would contact the office of, I think her name's Tammy Duckworth. She's a senator. She's a liberal. She'd probably, if anyone's going to help you, it'd be her office. Now, again, you don't get your hopes up, but if you can get someone that they will have, if you call her office, they will have an immigration liaison. It's usually some like intern kid who will have you fill out a form, and then they'll reach out to the embassy and say, hey, next week Salem's wife's coming in for the interview. Can you maybe put your finger on the scale and help her out a little bit? Because they're really,
Tammy Duckworth, you said?
I think that's her name. Let me check to make sure. She's a war veteran. She's a senator from Illinois. So yeah, that's who you want to talk to.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the other thing is, like, if that all gets ruined up, and even we try the B2 thing and it still doesn't work out, and then I come on my OPT. So there is the concern of going out of the country while I'm on OPT, because I'm afraid that, okay, if I get a job and everything, and then I apply for OPT and I get the job and everything is stable, will I be able to come out and in of the country safely and not lose my job? That's the other concern.
Not too often. I mean, you don't want to do that too often, but you should be. I mean, if you you'll get updated I-20s. You'll get a new I-20 for the OPT, and then you get another I-20 for the STEM extension. So, you're always going to want to travel at the beginning of those new I-20s.
Yeah.
But as long as you can show a path, you should be able to come and go okay, as long as you're not leaving and coming every 3 days.
By showing a path, what do you mean? Like
that you have a long-term plan of staying here, that you have a job lined up, that you've talked to the employer about sponsorship for a STEM, for part of the STEM extension, because you're going to need the employer's help for that. So they should understand what I mean.
Okay. So Jim, like something popped up in my head right now. So my wife's brother recently got married here. He came on a B1 or something, or B1, B2, something like that, and he got married here to an American. Maybe also something that pops up on the system?
I think it could. I think that I definitely. I don't know about brothers and sisters, but like I've had people who who like came to the United States on a B1, B2, then married a U.S. citizen, applied for a green card, and then they try to get their mom over, and they say, "Hell no, we're not letting the mom come because you didn't do what you were supposed to. You didn't go back when you said you would." So I don't know if they extend that to brother and sister, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So basically, what we need to do is just try out, and there's nothing else that we can do except for trying, and then trying to advocate for ourselves. That's basically it, right?
That's it.
Okay. So the Congress lady and trying to advocate, and then that's it. All right, Jim. Thanks a lot. Appreciate
Good
it.
luck, buddy. Yep,
Yeah.
hang in there.
Thanks
Yep.
a lot. Appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for the call. That was an interesting call. All right, let's say hi to Carol. Hi, Carol.
Oh, hi. Thank
How
you
you
so
doing?
much for thank you. Oh God, my heart is beating right now. I hope
That's
you
all
can help
good.
me. I have a complicated situation, I think.
Okay, lay it on me.
I'm from the Bahamas originally. My mom took me to Florida when I was 11, so that was in 1981. I lived in America from 1981 until 2017, I think it was, without
Mhm.
adjusting my status. I was married to a Bahamian citizen at first. We had 6 children together in Florida, and we got a divorce. And I then married a US citizen, and we're currently married now for almost 10 years. While in Florida, I'm kind of nervous, so please bear with me.
You're fine.
While we were in Florida, I tried adjusting my status because I have my oldest daughter. She's in the Army, and she tried applying for me to get my status adjusted. And because I had identity theft when I was a little bit younger, somebody used my information, applied for a voter's card, and that's still on my record. And I paid lawyers after lawyers after lawyers trying to get that straightened, and I couldn't get it straightened. So my husband and I decided that we would leave and go to Barbados to live because he's originally from Barbados. But
Okay.
it didn't work out like the plans were. So my father was dying, and I decided to come back to the Bahamas where I am currently. I want to know, should I continue to try to adjust my status because I have grandkids now? Should I try to adjust my status to go back to America, or should I just apply for a US visa?
Well, now you have a 10-year bar.
No, it's a 5-year bar.
Why
Oh,
is it?
I'm sorry. That's a part of this. That's a part of the story that I missed out. When,
Okay.
when my daughter applied for, she purchased my ticket from Barbados because I wanted to come to the Bahamas to see my dad that was past dying,
Yeah.
and she routed my ticket through Fort Lauderdale. I naively thought that when you have a flight that you just kind of stop and continue on your
And
journey.
it's like you're not really in the country.
Right. And it didn't work out that way. We actually had to stop. I got off the flight, go through immigration. They obviously detained me for a few hours, and they stamped a 5-year bar in my passport
And what was the basis of the 5-year bar?
because they saw the fact that, well, they said that I tried to enter the country illegally, even though I had a ticket routing me to Nassau. They said
Right.
I entered the country illegally. And
Yep.
also they saw the thing about the whole voter's registration card thing, even though I tried to explain to them that it was identity theft. And it was, at that point, I just wanted to leave. Like, just please let me go. I just want to go home to my dad.
Sure,
So,
understandable.
but that's
But
where I
see,
am now.
but you also have a 10-year bar. You have
Okay.
you might have that 5-year bar that CBP gave
Mhm.
you, but you also have a 10-year bar because you lived in the United States for 19
A lot of
plus
years.
36 years.
Right.
So what was the date you exited the United States?
I think it was July of 2016, 17. I think it was like 2017. It may have been.
Okay, so that means you can't come back until 2027 unless you can get some kind of a waiver.
Okay, even though I'm married to a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And okay, that's another thing. There's a waiver. Let me see if I can think of the name of that waiver. There's a waiver that I saw that somebody else had mentioned that I would probably be qualified for.
The
It
601
is,
waiver. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
A 601
The
hardship waiver.
601, correct. 601
Yep.
waiver.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So what's the hardship of having you Because they understand that everybody who's separated from a U.S. citizen spouse or children experiences hardship. It has to be exceptional hardship. So it has to be more than regular hardship. What's the exceptional hardship?
Well, my husband has to live here in the Bahamas. I mean, it's kind of hard. He does. The fact that we're away from each other, like right now I'm here and he can't come home right now. We're away from each other and I can't see my grandkids. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say the hardship would be. Like I have daughters that one of my daughters is about to have a baby and she would really like for me to be there with her to help her with the baby, but I can't.
So let's talk about your children. You said you had 6 children, right?
Yes.
Are they all U.S. citizens?
Every last one of them. Yep.
Okay. And how many of them are over the age of 21?
All of them.
Okay. And as of right now, no one has filed an I-130 petition for you. Not your husband, not your.
Yes. My daughter filed for me and it was denied. My husband hasn't filed for me.
The I-130 was denied, or the 485 was denied?
I-130. I don't think I ever did a 45. I don't know what a 45 is. I'm familiar with the I-130.
45 is to adjust status. The I-130, the only question is whether or not you're your child's mother. So that should have been approved.
Right. Okay. So then maybe it was the 45. I don't know. Whatever the attorney filed. So forgive me for being ignorant to the fact.
Fine.
But
you're just fine. You're not ignorant at all. You're doing a fine job of explaining this all to me. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, here's the thing. We have to take this step by step. So the first step is to do a Freedom of Information Act request and get your file from CBP, for the 5-year bar. Get your file from USCIS to see what was filed before. Generally, when we talk about hardship, it's like saying that I'm separated from my husband. That's not going to cut it. Usually, it has to be something like severe health issues.
He had a heart attack.
Right. So that's how you frame the hardship. But depending on the I-130, we might want to start over with an I-130 filed by your husband, or we might want to just try to use that one. But I think there's a path for you to come back, but you need to get started. Like, it's a 2.5 year path. So you need to get started on it. And there's lots that needs to happen. So either we go with your daughter's approved I-130, or we file a new I-130 with your husband, since he's the one that had the heart attack, and then get that approved. Then we have to start the embassy process, and then we apply for the waiver for your 10-year bar.
Okay. I need an attorney.
You need an attorney. Yeah. If you shoot us an email info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com, it's there at the bottom, and we can put it in the comments. I'll put it in there right now. If you shoot us an email and say, my name's Carol, I was on the show with Jim today, at around the 45-minute mark, then they'll find you, and then they'll follow up with you.
Okay. All righty. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks for telling us your story. I appreciate it. You did a great job. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Let's say hi to Ayman. Hi, Ayman.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. My sister-in-law had petitioned her dad, to submit I-130, and then she filled the DS-230, with the National Visa Center. The National Visa Center sent her a message saying that the petition you have filed does not allow derivative status for family members. This means that a spouse and married child under 21 or parent will require her own petition, his or her own petition to immigrate. So in such a situation, we have to submit an additional I-130 for the wife, for her mother, and for her child, for her brother.
Definitely for the mother. The child won't be able to come with the parents.
But if she applied for her dad, they are accompanying.
That's not how it works. She should have filed 2 I-130s on the same day. One for mom, one for dad.
I see.
And then son doesn't come with mom and dad. Son needs his own application.
Need his own application. So What kind of applications we need?
How old is son?
16 years old.
Yeah. So here's what has to happen. If I were you, what I would do is if dad's case is almost done,
Yes.
I would have dad come to the United States and get his green card.
Okay.
Once he gets his green card, then I would have dad apply for mom and for son.
Okay.
And that's the best way to do it, instead of having her start now to apply for mom, because dad can apply once dad gets his green card, he can apply for the son.
Okay.
And that's going to keep him from aging out, and it's going to be faster than starting over now for mom and then waiting for mom to get it and then applying for brother.
Okay. The other question that I have also, it is about the sponsorship. I mean, financial sponsorship. So my sister-in-law does not have the capability or financial support. She and her husband, who is my brother. So I'm gonna be the sponsor. So what form I have to file? She filed I-864, and her husband I-864A. I have to file I-864 or I-864A. My wife is physician. So how it's gonna be done this one?
Do you live with them or do you live separate from them?
I live. I do have another residence. I live above them in same house, but it's different with my mom.
So that sounds like a law school exam question, whether or not whether USCIS or whether the National Visa Center will consider that to be the same address or not. I don't know. I think you'd probably just file your own I-864 and your wife would file an I-864A.
Okay. So this is what I did exactly. I filed I-864, and my wife filed I-864A, and they said in that one, they said here in the message. Let me see. Where is the message? Says here, national visa centers cannot review your submitted document until you have received. No, not this one. I'm sorry. This message here says here. Okay. Misplaced HHM. Khadija does not qualify to be Umama, who is my sister-in-law household member. Please add this person as Ayman household, which is me, okay, member, and submit all of their financial support document under Khadija name. So what that means?
I mean, I have no idea, brother. The best part about owning your own law firm is you don't have to deal with affidavits of support. I don't deal with these every day, so I'm probably not the right person to ask. But generally, it sounds like you've confused them as to who lives where.
Okay.
And it's
Gotcha.
probably because you live upstairs. But it sounds like they can't figure out who lives where. So I think you need to do a better job of explaining who everybody is. Okay. Who's related to who lives with who's the household member and who's not, and then go from there.
Okay, so I need to resubmit the I-864 probably.
I think.
Okay, so the solution now is for him to come and then he submit an application for his wife and son. Okay,
yeah. Oh, and real quick, Ayman, that's another. I'm glad you said that you recapped it, because here's why. The good thing about if he applies, he can file one application for his wife and son. They can be on the same application. He doesn't have to pay two fees at USCIS. But if your wife did, or whoever the other person is, your sister-in-law, they would have to file two different ones. So that's a whole other reason to do it the way I said.
Okay, gotcha. And that's how long it will take, just roughly.
How long has this process taken for Dad?
He's about ready to be there. So if we leave it just like this, okay, he goes to the embassy, he will travel and come here from Syria, okay, and then he stay here, apply for her.
Wait, right, but so how long did that take? How long did it take for
her father? It took about almost 8-9 months.
At National Visa Center, but from the start to finish, when did she file the I-130?
She filed the I-130 May of 2021. So it's more than a year.
So that's pretty fast. So that's about how long the wife's case will probably take.
Okay, it will take another year. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Jim.
All right, bye, Eamon. See you, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
Bye-bye.
got it. All right. Let's say hi to Cecilia. Hi, Cecilia. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for having me. I'm calling from Virginia. I have a question and I want to know what I should do. I'm a U.S. citizen and I filed for my husband. We have the I-130 approved, but they denied the I-485 and then the 601, which they say we don't have enough hardship. So we refiled and then we did the hardship again. They again denied, stating there's no excessive hardship, but he put another decision. If we want, we can appeal the decision they made, which we did the appeal, and then in August of last month, we received a decision from the AAO stating the case is remanded back to the originating office.
Good.
For reconsideration, and order was made. The order says previous decision by the USCIS is withdrawn. They need to
Nice.
look at the new evidence and they make a new decision.
Good.
And it has been 2 months now. We've not heard anything. So I was looking at YouTube what I should do, and I saw that you made one YouTube that if your case is returned back, you have to do this, you have to do that. But I didn't really understand. So that's why I called the office, and then
Yeah.
so lucky I'm able to get you today.
So, so it's sort of tricky because you need a favor from them. You need them to grant the waiver. Now, clearly they don't want to approve the waiver because they've denied it twice. But
Yeah.
their bosses said, "Hey, you fools, you didn't do this properly." So, if they got the case back to them 2 months ago, I would give them maybe 2 or 3 more months. And if they don't decide it in 2 or 3 months, then I would sue them and try to get a final decision, pointing out that it was remanded with instructions and that they should just go ahead and approve it. I don't know why they haven't. They probably don't like the case. What was the reason that your spouse needed the waiver in the first place?
Okay. He entered with someone's passport. Or someone's passport and then on a visa. But he doesn't have the I-94 because it doesn't belong to him, and he gave it back to the person. So the whole thing is he doesn't have the I-94 to show the point of entry. But when we went for the first interview, he answered all the questions. He was inspected because he have a ticket, the airline ticket stating the date and the time he came in, and he was inspected at New York before he moved on to Virginia. But he's married, and then
it was at somebody else when he got inspected.
Yes, he was inspected, but they're saying he entered in with somebody's passport. So that's the whole thing we're asking for the waiver.
So, but I can see why they're fighting you hard on this because they don't like it when people do that. So they're probably mad. What country is he from?
From Ghana.
Ghana, yeah. So Ghana and Nigeria are high on their list right now. So I don't know if I'd sue them or not because they clearly don't want to give him a green card. They're pissed that he entered that way that he entered. So I think right now you just have to wait and see what happens.
Okay. So one more question. So since the higher authority have given them an order, can USCIS go ahead and then revoke that order?
Well, so let's operate, or let's go with the idea that they don't want to give him the green card, right? Like they don't want to give him the waiver. So if I'm the officer and I don't want to give him the waiver, what I would do is I would say, this case was previously before me on such and such a day, and this office, the Fairfax office of USCIS, denied the waiver. The case went up to the Administrative Appeals Office on such and such a day 2 months ago. The AAO remanded it and told us to reconsider, that we hadn't done a good job of reviewing the evidence that was submitted the second time in support of the waiver. And then if I'm them, then I would list all the evidence that you submitted and I would attack it. I would say, okay, we've done what the higher authorities, the AAO, told us to do. We've gone through and considered this. And even now, after we've considered it, we're still denying the waiver. That's what I would do if they wanted to screw you.
So then, so then we have to go again and then put in a new application for the 601 and then 485.
Or appeal it again. Yeah.
Or appeal it again.
Or sue them in court.
Okay. So we have to wait the next 3 months and get we should wait patiently for them to get a response. If it's not a favorable response, then we can go ahead and then sue them.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay, because I know in the AAO letter they argue that is why he's asking for waiver, and then the hardship. Yes, there's a hardship, not only financial, but there's medical hardship too. But still, they're saying it's on the lower medical side of hardship because I have depression. I hear voices. They put all in. I'm on medication. The AAO told them there's new evidence, so they should look at this new evidence and reconsider their decision. When their old decision is being withdrawn. So I don't know if it's much of favorable to us or the case still go back to the same officer who denied the case.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, you have to remember, they're assholes. They don't play fairly. Like, they don't want to give him the green card. The first thing you have to understand is they don't want to give him the green card. So they're going to do everything that they can to not give him the green card unless somebody makes them give him the green card. That's what I think.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Hi, Cecilia. Good work. You're doing a good job. Keep fighting.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap. Franklin wants to know about my blue shirts. Blue is my favorite color. Blue is the happy color. Blue and green are my favorite colors. We will end with that nice note from Franklin. Franklin, I hope you're well, buddy. We will be back tomorrow. Skyla, what time tomorrow? I think tomorrow's 4 o'clock. Yep, 4 o'clock tomorrow. That'll be episode 261. Remember, if you want to get on our text list so that you always get a text when we are going live, make sure to send a text the word show, SHOW, to 314-470-3300. Skyla and I will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central to answer all of your immigration law related questions, and we will see you then.